We're at Parliament House today for the Deaths in Custody rally commemorating the 30th year since the unfortunate passing of John Pat in Roebourne in Western Australia's northwest.
The 30-year memory of John Pat's death, very important occasion for us because it leads to today and what we need to do today as a people and as a community and as a government. And that's why we're here at Parliament, to demand some action be taken to stop this continual imprisonment of Aboriginal people.
When we see that smoking ceremony, we call in the spirits of the dead of our Noongar people. What do we want? Justice. When do you want it? Now. I can feel the spirits of all those who have gone, who stood here, the Noongars, you know? The spirit is still with us. I've suffered racism for 60 years in this country. And today, as I stand here, 30 years since that dear boy died, he was killed. We said, look, we should have all these Noongars howling on the street and screaming for justice for what's happened up there. It's a big cover-up. And 30 years and still no justice, no apology. And today, well, hopefully we'll get it today.
We need to implement the recommendations, all of the recommendations of the Royal Commission. Over 20 years later, they still haven't been implemented. We need to keep the pressure on the government, keep the pressure on the opposition, keep the pressure on the Greens and all members of Parliament, and hold us accountable. Hold us accountable.
Apart from the rally, Ben Wyatt, as member Labor spokesperson on Indigenous Affairs, he'll be moving a motion of apology in the House. And that's why we're going up with some members of the Pat family to hear that motion and hopefully have it discussed and have it passed in the Parliament of WA.
I think that an apology is in order. I mean, there's some situations where perhaps not full knowledge of what was going on or maybe poor resources or environment led to the outcome, but what happened was just not good enough, and we need to apologise for that.
It was an historic day in Parliament House in Western Australia today. The motion moved by Ben Wyatt apologising in particular to John Pat's family and for deaths in custody in Western Australia was passed unanimously.
There never has been a parliamentary acknowledgement around John's death, the circumstances of John's death, and ultimately a death that led to the Royal Commission into the Aboriginal deaths in custody, which really was a significant milestone in Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal relationships in Australia. So the Parliament, I'm delighted, passed that motion unanimously. The government supported my motion, which I think reflects wonderfully well on the current Parliament and does show how far the relationships have changed over the last 30 years between Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal Australia.
Great day for Aboriginal people in Western Australia. I don't think there's one of this nature to an individual. Great recognition. Sad, but great.
And very important to the family?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because it's about moving on. You will continue to have incarceration of people. Sadly, Aboriginal people are at the forefront of that with the biggest numbers. This helps community, this helps family move on, and now this is a challenge to government to do things different with Aboriginal people in the area of justice. And justice reinvestment might be the way.
Justice reinvestment, which is basically creating alternatives that stop people going into prison systems.
Yeah, all other alternatives, yeah. I'm on the board of Deaths in Custody. I'm on different other committees. And we're all banging our head against a wall, fighting with government for funding. They don't want to look at you. Yet this government wants to build Elizabeth Quay and all that, spend millions on silly, stupid things, where they should be getting education certificates for our people. But no.
A lot of our people are still dying in prisons, jails. Still happening. There's no change. Sorry, it's just a word. Do they really mean it though? And why 30 years later?
John McBain for Undercurrent.